What's up, guys? Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Gator from the South. If you're just joining us, if you've never been here before, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. We like to bring you guys entertainment news and politics and music and everything else. Today, right now, we're going to be talking about this Sarah Sanders, Chris Wallace interview. I thought this was classic. I know we don't normally don't follow politics as heavily on this channel, but I felt like this was necessary. And by the way, if you're looking at my jacket saying it's dingy as fuck, man, this is my Marine Corps jacket. This jacket has been to Iraq, Afghanistan. That's Iraqi dirt, So it's not just regular dirt. That's world dirt. All right, let's get right into this Chris Wallace interview. I don't want to hold you guys up too long today. I don't know if I'm going to have a crowd today or what. Like I said, I just wanted to, hey, what's up, Michelle Obama and TG, what's up? At least I have clothes on. Yeah, I know, right? Let's go ahead and get into this because I thought this was extremely funny. Chris Wallace just blasted Sarah Sanders, like gives it to her. Like he really did not, even though this is Fox News, he did not give her an inch on this interview. And I really thought it was very interesting that he called, Sarah Sanders and Trump on these lies, on this bullshit they've been spitting about the southern border and about migrants coming in being terrorists. I'm gonna let Chris Wallace give it to you right now.
Joining me now here in the studio, White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders. Sarah, welcome back to Fox News Sunday.
Great to be with you.
So, what is the latest on the negotiations? Did they make any progress yesterday?
Well, they made some progress yesterday. The fact that they're sitting down at the table is some progress in and of itself. But they've got a long way to go. I mean, Democrats set down the first thing that one of the individuals from the Democrat side said in the meeting was, "We're not here to make an agreement." So this was the beginning of a conversation that still has, I think, a lot left to be worked out. They're going to meet again later this afternoon, and hopefully they'll continue to make progress and continue to move the ball down the field. At the end of the day, though, Democrats have said over and over again that they support border security, that they support protecting American citizens. Now it's time to fulfill some of those statements that they've made, work with the president. Let's get this done. Let's open the government
Well, of course, the
up.
question is the wall the best way to do it? I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But again, going back to Friday, the president met what he said, that he is prepared to fight for the wall, to continue the shutdown for months or even years.
Well, I think that's one of the things that people misunderstand. The president's some progress later this afternoon, and hopefully they'll continue to make progress and continue to move the ball down the field. At the end of the day, though, Democrats have said over and over again that they support border security, that they support protecting American citizens. Now it's time to fulfill some of those statements that they've made, work with the president. Let's get this done. Let's open the government
Well, of course, the
up.
question is the wall the best way to do it? I'm going to ask you about that in a minute. But again, going back to Friday, the president met what he said, that he is prepared to fight for the wall, to continue the shutdown for months or even years.
Well,
That's what I was trying to do a second ago, family, was pause it, because I had a quick question to ask you guys. My question is this. I have never seen a government shutdown like this. Now, granted, I haven't seen many government shutdowns. But one thing I do know is that, when I was in the military, in the United States Marine Corps, we had a government shutdown as well. But we got paid. The things that they're going through now, our military isn't getting paid. The postal people aren't getting paid. And people are really wondering, like, what's the deal here? You know what I mean? Why were we able to get paid when everybody else had their shutdowns and not Trump? Well, I think the difference is Trump is just a bigger asshole. You know what I mean? He wants his money for this wall, and he is prepared to tear down every life to get it. He is prepared to go to hell and back to get this wall built. What do you guys think about that? Is that something that you even care about? Do you care about a wall? I mean, is that important to you and your family? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna get right back into this.
I think that's one of the things that people misunderstand. The president's not fighting for the wall. He's fighting for the protection of American citizens.
But he wants the wall to do that.
Absolutely. He wants the wall, and he wants a number of other things. We have a completely broken immigration system. We have a national crisis, not just of safety and security, but a humanitarian crisis. We have drugs. We have human traffickers. We have terrorists that come across our border, and there has to be a stop to that. And we want to do not just the wall. Certainly, that's one of the most important factors. We know that it works. We know that in the places that it's been, it's 95% effective. We want to be effective across the board, and that includes the wall and other technology.
But you're not answering my question. He meant what he said. He's prepared to continue this fight, this shutdown, for months or even years.
Absolutely. The president means what he says when he says that. But it would be outrageous for Democrats who agree with the president. That's what's the most outrageous thing to me, and something that, frankly, is so just incomprehensible. They agree with the president. They agree that we need border security. They just are unwilling to let this president win. And I think at some point they have to decide that they care more about Americans than fighting the president. And so far we haven't seen a willingness on their side to fully do that.
Well, let's talk about caring about Americans, because House Democrats this week passed 6 bills that would fund 8 agencies unrelated to Homeland Security, unrelated to the wall, that would get them back going right now. And the question is, why not sign that bill, fund those agencies that have nothing to do with the border wall, and not hold those hundreds of thousands of federal workers and the services they provide hostage?
Look, we're not holding anybody hostage. The president wants to fund the government. He wants to open the government.
But you could open those 8 other agencies.
Chris, we've been having this debate for years. At some point, we have to say enough is enough. Until we can come together, we can be reasonable, which we have put forth in good faith multiple offers to Democrats to say, let's make a deal. Let's have a discussion. Let's get to a place where we agree. We have to stop kicking the can down the road and just continuing to say, let's do it again in 30 days. Let's do it in 45 days.
No. But I'm not talking about Homeland Security. You can continue to fight about that if you want and shut it down. But why hold agriculture hostage? Why hold justice hostage? Why hold the Treasury Department?
He's really getting on her, family. He's really making a good point here. This is what the Democrats have been saying for the last 17 days since they shut it down. Why hold all these other branches of government hostage? You don't have your wall. So fucking what? $25 billion in the big scheme of things is not really a big amount of money. I mean, it's a considerable amount of money, considering that the last several budget packages have been in the $700 billion range, almost at $1 trillion. So $25 billion is, what? 25% of 100 billion. So let's see. So that's a pretty sizable amount of the budget. I would say a good. Okay, I'm gonna do the math really quick for you here. 25% out of 100. Now do that by 7. Divide that by 7. So you're looking at a good. What's 25 divided by 7? 4% of the budget. So that's still a pretty good sizable amount of the budget. 4% of your United States budget. That's a lot. That's like what's allocated to the VA or something like that. And to allocate that to the wall, it's just nonsense. And I think they're gonna get more into that, later on in the episode. I don't know the most about politics. I know what I've studied, and I know what I read and what I understand. But what I understand the most is that a lot of this money that is taken up, that is used by the government, is what they call waste, fraud, and abuse. In the military, it was a really big thing: waste, fraud, and abuse. They would order things, they would have things that they really didn't need. These higher level people would just, I need this car, or I need this pen, I need this chair, and this $2,500 chair when you could have got a $5 chair, to sit your butt in, but you're an officer. I can't sit down in no $5 chair. I got to have a $3,000 chair to sit my butt in. That's waste, fraud, and abuse. That's where a lot of our money is going, especially in the military. I can tell you that for a fact. Let's get back to Chris Wallace.
Hostage. Why not fund them? They have nothing to do with the border wall.
Look, the president wants to do this all at once. He knows it's better if they can focus on getting all of these packages done at one time.
Isn't the real reason because you want the leverage from all the agencies?
It's not that, but you also have to look at the six bills. Those aren't the budget that we submitted either. There are a lot of discrepancies between what we submitted. Those have all been approved by
Republicans in the Senate.
And I'm not saying we oppose those 6. I'm just saying, to make it like this is an easy deal, we want to be able to negotiate, but at the same time, you can't just keep passing passing the buck. This is a major point of contention, and let's just sit down and work it out.
Okay, but if this shutdown drags on, not months or years, but even into February, it's going to start to hurt real people. Take a look at this, Sarah. Federal tax refunds will be delayed. Food stamps for 38 million Americans will be cut. Millions of people will lose rental assistance payments, and union leaders say hundreds of TSA workers are already off the job because they can't afford to get to work. President Trump thinks the border wall is worth all of that?
Look, the president certainly doesn't want any of those things to happen. But you know what else he doesn't want to see happen? He never wants to make a phone call like the one he made earlier this week where he spoke to Officer Singh of California's widow because an illegal immigrant came across our border and killed him in cold blood. That shouldn't happen in this country, particularly when we have things that we know can help prevent it. Every life, that's what sets America apart from every other country. We value life. It's what makes us unique. And the day that we stop doing that, even if it's 1, 10, or 100,000, that's when we stop being the greatest country on the face of this earth. Not only people like that, but we also have a massive influx of drugs that come across the southern border. 90% of the heroin that comes into this country comes across through the southern border, and 300 Americans are killed from that every single month.
Let's
have to look at it across the board.
Let's talk about the wall, because there is no question that there has been a big spike in the number of family units coming across the border. The president talks about terrorists potentially coming across the border. And here is Secretary of Homeland Security Nielsen. Take a look.
CBP has stopped over 3,000 what we call special interest aliens trying to come into the country on the southern border. Those are aliens who the intel community has identified are of concern.
But special interest aliens are just people who come from countries that have ever produced a terrorist. They're not terrorists themselves, and the State Department says that there is, quote, their words, no credible evidence of any terrorists coming across the border from Mexico.
We know that roughly nearly 4,000 known or suspected terrorists come into our country illegally. And we know that our most vulnerable point of entry is at our southern border.
I know this statistic. I didn't know if you were going to use it, but I studied up on this. Do you know where those 4,000 people come, or where they're captured? Airports.
Not always, but
Bam, damn, bam, damn. Thank you, ma'am. Get off my spam. Sarah Sanders, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? What the fuck is wrong with you and Donald Trump? Like, seriously. Why can't you just take the truth for what it is? The fucking truth. When people tell you the truth, listen to it, man. Let me hear this one more time. Chris Wallace, because I don't think you just told her this. Let me see, where we at? 240? So let me go back to 220, 223.
That roughly nearly 4,000 known or suspected terrorists come into our country illegally. And we know that our most vulnerable point of entry is at our southern border.
I know this statistic. I didn't know if you were going to use it, but I studied up on this. Do you know where those 4,000 people come, or where they're captured? Airports.
Not always, but
airports.
Certainly a large number.
The State Department says there hasn't been any terrorists that they found coming.
What? The State Department said what now?
Says there hasn't been any terrorists that they found. Airports.
Not always, but certainly a large number.
The State Department says there hasn't been any airports.
Not always, but certainly a large number.
The State Department says there hasn't been any terrorists that they found. The State Department says there hasn't been any terrorists that they found. The State Department says there hasn't been any terrorists that they found coming across the southern border from Mexico.
It's by air, it's by land, and it's by sea. It's all of the above. But one thing that you're forgetting is that the most vulnerable point of entry that we have into this country is our southern border. And
now she's in scramble mode, family. Now she's in scramble mode, trying to figure out what the fuck to say because Chris Wallace done pulled her motherfucking card. Wow, I was aghast, people. I was literally a gasp, whatever you call it, whatever you say. I'd never seen Fox News come at Trump and Sarah Sanders this way. But I know that Chris Wallace does have a disdain for Trump. I know that he reports negatively on Trump, like probably one of the only people on Fox News who reports negatively on Trump. Let's continue with the interview. It's only a couple more minutes left. I just wanted you guys to see this morning. It's crazy.
We have to protect it. And the more and more that individuals
they're not coming across the southern border,
penetrable,
Sarah. They're coming and they're being stopped at airports.
They're coming a number of ways. There's certainly, I'm not disagreeing with you that they're coming through airports. I'm saying that they come by air, by land, and by sea. And the more and more that our border becomes vulnerable and the less and less that we spend time and money.
I just want to stop her there. I didn't like that reference she made. They come by air, by land, and by sea. That's the Marine Corps motto. The terrorists are not Marine Corps. That's crazy, but well, that's not the motto of the Marine Corps, but that is one of the, that's one of the monikers. That's what we do. We're the only branch of the military that goes by air, by land, and by sea. We are authorized to be on naval vessels. We are authorized to have ground combat, and we are authorized to fly aircraft. The only branch of the military that has all of it combined into one. So I don't know if she's trying to throw subliminal messages out there that they're going to send the Marines in, because they do have the authority. The Marine Corps is also the only branch of government that is the president's own branch of personal military. He can call the Marines out. He can send the Marines out without congressional approval, without a declaration of war. He can send the Marines anywhere in the world, even here in the United States, and they are bound by law to act on his behalf. I just wanted to make that little point. I didn't like the fact that she used that terminology there, but let's see where she's going with it.
Money protecting it, the more that we're going to have an influx, not just of terrorists, but of human traffickers, drug inflow, and people that are coming here to do American citizens harm.
Okay. The president now says, and this was a revelation on Friday, that he can go around Congress and build this wall on his own. Take a look.
We can call a national emergency because of the security of our country. Absolutely. No, we can do it. I haven't done it. I may do it. But we can call a national emergency and build it very quickly.
How serious is he about that? Has the White House drafted an emergency order, a resolution that he could announce tomorrow? We're declaring a national emergency. We're going to build the wall. Has he set a deadline for when he's going to end talks and simply say, I'm going?
No, he has not, because he can't do that. They talked about that all yesterday. He doesn't have the authority. And by the way, I wanted to remind you guys of this before we got offline in a little bit. I have an interview with Jazzy G. Lovely coming up later on this afternoon. She's agreed to do an interview. We were supposed to have it next Monday, but we're going to have it today, this afternoon. Jazzy G. Lovely will be on the channel later this afternoon. I'm going to be interviewing her not only about Nature Boy, but about just about everything that's going on with Jazzy G. I am a fan. I am somebody who really enjoys her channel, her talks, her laugh, which I'm sure we all do. You guys stay tuned for that one. That'll be coming up later on this afternoon. Like I said, I appreciate it. Let me get right back into Chris Wallace.
I'm going to go off on my own and do it. And is he really prepared?
It's a lot of questions.
Well, three. Is he really prepared? It's all the same question, which is how serious is he? Is he really prepared to go off on his own and use money that was authorized for military construction and build a wall instead?
The president is prepared to do what it takes to protect our borders, to protect the people of this country. He knows that the number one job he has as president and commander-in-chief is to protect its citizens. And if he doesn't take that seriously, whether it's at our southern border or whether it's from terrorists coming from whatever way they come or any other place that
really
people come to do harm to Americans, then he is not going to be the president that he knows himself to be.
And does he really, just quickly, does he really think that he has the authority to build the wall with funds that were appropriated for the military construction without congressional approval?
As we've said for the last several weeks, we're looking and exploring every option available that the president has.
And is that a viable option?
Whatever action he takes will certainly be lawful, and we're looking at every option we can. This is something the president takes incredibly seriously, is very passionate about, and is not going to stop until he figures out the best way to make sure we're doing everything we can to make America safer and more secure.
I got less than a minute left. President Trump is at Camp David today to meet with White House.
Okay, they're not going to be talking about nothing for the rest of that minute. Like I said, guys, I just wanted to get you guys' reaction to this today. I don't really have an opinion on it one way or the other because the government shutdown doesn't affect me because I don't have a federal job. I don't, when the VA is still open, so I don't know how that works. The VA still is open, but, our soldiers aren't getting paid. But I want to know, has the shutdown affected you guys in any way? Probably not. But if it has, leave a comment. Let me know so we can feature your story. That's what I would love to do. Is I would love to feature some stories of people who this has affected. I have a military veteran as well who was affected. I had him on last week, and I plan to have some more people on very shortly here. Like I said, I've got Jazzy G Lovely coming on this afternoon. If you haven't heard of her, she has a YouTube channel out. She covers a lot of different things, but the main focus of everybody's YouTube channel right now in this community has been this Nature Boy drama, and Eliana and Velvet and Rambo and Serenity. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that, as always. And it's just going to be such a pleasure to have Jazzy G on my screen talking to us today. I got a feeling that she's going to be a great interviewer, a great interviewee. With that being said, I'm going to get out of here, guys. I just wanted to bring you guys this quick story, see what you guys thought about it. Let's see go to the comments really quickly. Michelle Obama said, yes, thank God my husband just retired from the Air Force in November. God, yes, God is good. That he is. That he is. Like I said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. She said, I'm so grateful. However, my husband does work in Virginia for the federal government, but thankfully they were not affected. Wow, I wonder why that is. I wonder how some people cannot be affected if they work for the government and some people can. I wonder why that is and how that is. Does it have anything to do with, your rank when you got out, or what kind of money you were making prior to? I have no idea. How that works. I wish I could bring more people on who did, and that's going to be my goal for the upcoming week until this shutdown is over with. And thank you guys so much. Peace, family, and I will see you guys a little later this afternoon with Jazzy G.